which I say is wrong. Because no matter what you do, the political systems control everything. If the political system is not good enough, you can't even run your business. The government policies, and that's why even all over the world, you see very successful businessmen participating indirectly in politics by sponsoring politicians to make sure that programs and policies of government are designed in a way that will favor their enterprise. So I encourage young people, both men and women, to get involved in the politics. It's not too easy, but get involved. You have tasted it, so you know. Then specifically, you asked me, you commended me for the number of women that played key role in my government at the center at that time. Yes, it's true. But the Nigerian political environment, because of this option that the winner takes all, it's a very dangerous option. And people feel that, on the average, the men are stronger in terms of struggling to win those elections. Maybe I want to send a candidate to contest for local government council chairmanship or state assembly or house of rep or senate or governor. They believe, especially considering our own political environment that has not been sanitized properly, that it's easier for men, it's more rugged. Politics with all kinds of night meetings. I felt that men will do better. So political parties are not very willing to send women, not directly that they will not want to send women, because they pass through the primaries. And since you must win to take, unlike the situations where the proportional representatives that if a party wins 40%, they produce 50% of the parliamentarians. Here is first past the post, so the person who wins takes 8. So during the primaries, women are disadvantaged. I know that I personally try to increase the number of women in the national parliament as a president, but I didn't succeed. But the appointing position, that was in the hands of the president. And I remember I didn't mention states, where sometimes I threaten the governor, if you don't give me a woman, I'll come and pick a woman from your state. So under that condition, he reluctantly would give me a name of a woman. But I said that I must have a particular number of women in the cabinet. Because the governors themselves want men that they believe will be political assets to them. And so they rather prefer, not as if they don't believe that the women have the cranial capacity to cope with the job. Of course, we have Nigerian women that are doing very well. Of course, we are talking about Ngozis and so on, and others, the Ote and others who are doing well. So we know that we have, but they feel that, yes, they may be cerebral, they may do well in managing finance, managing this, managing that, but go to the villages, so run around for the political process. They may not be as good as the men. So they try to encourage the men more. But why I tried at the center, and you're asking why I was unable to influence my governors to do that. You know, there's a difference. Of course, though we are not practicing a true federal system based on textbook, but the states are semi-autonomous. And it's difficult for you now to dictate to a governor that you must do this, you must do this. We used to persuade them to do that, and that sometimes the governors have been trying. Because I remember, like Governor Dixon, before he left, made sure that at the local government level that all the vice chairmen were female. He knew that probably if he presents women, winning the election might be difficult. So he made sure that all the PDP candidates pick female as vice. So assuming you pick a female as a vice, it's a learning process. After serving as a vice chairman of a council for maybe 3 years or a little more, probably that woman will be strong enough to. So we did that. Even at the center, we encouraged the female ministers then to make sure that they mentor 1 or 2 females that we should be able to push through elective offices with the assistants and so on. But the success rate was quite low. But we tried the little we could, and just as government, of course, is a continuous process. As more presidents come up and continue to encourage women to get to a time that probably will beat Rwanda.
Yes.
Because I always insist that as a nation, we must plan for the young people. And if any nation that wants to grow, they don't plan for people like us. When you get to this age, you're looking down. You're not looking up again. And I remember in the 18th century, so I always forget some of these names, when I think in Britain, when they were just struggling to come up, one economist wrote a classical essay planning for our grandchildren. And that essay, the government took that essay seriously, and they began to think differently. Before we were planning for somebody who is already waiting to die to survive. Somebody waiting to die can die. But the younger people that are coming up are those that will change the society. And so whenever somebody has programs that face the young people and women, and this is the segment of society that appears to be marginalized to some extent based on our thinking, then we're quite happy. So thank you so much for what you are doing, you and your team of very young people, and for your good programs. Then for the issues raised, let me start from the last one, because it is interesting. The issue of some of the things we did and terms of back collecting to the grassroots. Normally for policies, you like to take the bottom-top approach. You cannot start from top. And that policy probably may not go down well at the bottom, which is the base, which is the foundation. And if the base does not participate or does not impact positively on them, then of course the system will collapse. So I'm quite pleased that in Nigeria we have that kind of disconnect because of the operation of the government. We have 3 tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. And it's very difficult for the central government to come up with policies that can really adequately take care of the grassroots. We have 777 local governments, and the population is huge. And that is why there is a tier of governments called the local government. I'm happy that you are interested in going there, and that's why I say let me start from there so that I don't miss it out. From my little experience in politics, when as a deputy governor, I was in charge of local governments in Bayelsa State. Then, of course, I moved up to become the president. The greatest failure we have in this country is the failure of the local governments. Local government systems have failed, we must admit it. And I believe maybe we're talking about different, of course, you know more than me. The journalists are here every day. You hear about restructuring or no restructuring or evolution of power, whatever, new constitution or no new constitution, whatever we intend to do. One key area that we must consider is the local government. If the local governments are functional, then it's easy. I always say when I was in office, I prefer to even send money directly to local governments, just like it's been sent. But the way monies are being sent is not the way, I mean, a country as big as India, they send money from the center directly to communities. They have the structure. And these monies are used properly. When I was a governor of Bayelsa State, I was saying that I have no business to go and award contracts to renovate primary schools directly. If the local governments are functioning properly, and I wanted to make a difference, but then I stayed for 1 year, 5 months, 2 weeks. Then I was dragged to Abuja. So that the state, any money that I'll use at the local primary school level, I should pass it to the local council. They should be able to, because they know the schools within their local government, the ones that need renovation more than others. Not somebody staying at the state capital and going on only to some few communities. And even the ones that are so dilapidated are not touched. Rather, the ones that are still good are the ones that are renovated because of the weakness of the local government system. People like you who have that kind of vision should win your elections. And if we have 75% of people who have that kind of vision taking charge of the local governments, then it will be easier. Yes, there are some policies that the federal government comes up that really affect everybody. But in terms of, no matter how good a policy is, there must be human beings that will make sure these things work. So if the local governments are functioning, when we were small, then we didn't have what is called local government now. We had divisions. The divisional officers used to be civil servants. And because they were civil servants and they report and they work based on the financial guidelines of the civil service and so on, the local governments were more functional than now that is being headed by political office holders. And some of them see themselves as little dictators at the local council, instead of really facing issues of development, security, and otherwise. I know we'll get there. Then the issue of money and into politics, which my good friend raised it. The first thing is that for you to play politics, definitely you spend some money, because you need logistics. I'm not talking about money to bribe anybody, but basically for you to campaign, for example, you have a team that you move out from one community to the other. Either you hire vehicles, or in my state it's even more expensive because you use 70% of the state, you have to use speedboats that are more expensive than vehicles. So you need basic money. But the problem we have in Nigeria is the one that are used negatively. Money that are used to induce maybe some actors. That is the negative aspect of the money. Otherwise, you must need some money. But then in Nigeria, frankly speaking, compared to other African countries, we spend too much money playing politics. Probably we need also to review our laws. If you go, because I've observed elections in quite a number of African states, so many African states, so a country like Tanzania, for example, and others that have gone there, you know, during campaign, a candidate does not need to print his name on a pen or a matchbox and give to somebody. They say that you are inducing the electorate. It's against their laws. But here, if somebody is contesting election, there will be loads of rice with faces of people who are candidates and wrapper with their faces, and they are giving to people. That you are inducing the electorate. And ordinarily, our electoral laws are supposed to abhor that. And if you do that, you should be disqualified from contesting that position. I think things will begin to change. That is, if the young people are willing to make a difference. And that brings me to the issue of the involvement of young people in the politics. Frankly speaking, I think a number of young people are involved in politics now, unlike before. A number of young people are involved in politics. If you go to the local governments, especially in the northern part of the country, yes, you still see fairly elderly people. Elderly in the sense that they are above 50, as local government chairman and so on. But if you come to the southern part, you hardly see a local government chairman that is up to 45 years. The councillors are out 20-something years, early 30s. If you go to the state assemblies, you cannot expect to see my age in the state assembly. You see people of 20-something, 30-something years, maximum maybe 40, early 40s. So at the local government level, at the state assemblies, almost young people. House of Rep, reasonably, a number of young people are there. In the Senate, it's like a lot of governors are there. So, so yes, but you need the blend. I always believe that you need the young and the old. I remember one statement made by late Maitama Sule. I think he gave a convocation lecture in University of Port Harcourt. Was it 2006 or so? He was saying that the young breed without the old breed will breed greed. So I remember that statement. The young breed and the old breed must work together to push our country forward. But the young people are doing well, and they're not too young to rule. The young people fought for, at least has helped. They have reduced the bars. But we want the young people who get into office to make a difference, so that Nigerians will believe that, yes, these are digital generation, and they are doing better than the analog people. The issue of gender, I already addressed that. The issue of the judiciary, I don't want to make more comment, but one thing as a politician, which I've made a public statement, I can't remember the exact platform I used. I said that in Nigeria today, that the judiciary select political leaders is not the best. The ballot papers should be the basis of selecting political leaders. If it is the judiciary that will select, it is not. We are not yet there. But well, issues of, I think the young man who is. There must be a lawyer here, because from the foundation.
Ario.
Yes. So it's delicate, but I have made the public statement before, and I will always make it. I'm not saying the judiciary are not doing well, but I mean our laws should suppress the idea of the judiciary returning candidates. If a candidate that won the election is fined one thing, so that election should be annulled, and a fresh election conducted. The ballot paper must decide who holds any office from councillorship to the presidency. And that is democracy. And until we get there, then we have not, then we are not doing well. But we must regret it that sometimes our elections are too violent in Nigeria. I think we are, in Africa, we are among the top countries with violent elections. If you ask the who has gone around with me for observation of elections, most countries, when you go, you will not notice that they are doing elections. You hardly, this kind of violence we see. Yes, every country has its own unique problem, but this violence that scares people. Like sometimes even you watch on television, even for party primaries, people going to break doors, windows, scatter ballot boxes, and so on. You hardly see it in other African countries. And when we behave that way, of course, we are now giving the powers to the judiciary to decide who becomes your governor, who becomes your senator, who becomes your House of Rep member. I believe as we progress, maybe we will get over that. So once again,